Kathy, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I always forget to unmute myself.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly, can you hear me? Okay. I've never joined via phone before, so I hope this works.
Oh, yeah. It sounds really
How
good.
come I can't hear you though? Are you muted? Why
I can hear
can't
you,
I
Becky.
hear?
Can you hear me?
Alicia, I can't see the PowerPoint anymore.
Yes, I just started the live stream, so I need to I had to
Okay.
pause share. Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
How's that? Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear now. I had a button to push.
That's so cliche. Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Checking to see if my space bar actually lets me talk while I'm holding it down.
I didn't know that trick. Who just said that?
That would be Cat Love.
I love that. Thank you.
I didn't know that trick either. Learn something new every day from you guys.
My kids in class are going to love it. It's so much easier than muting and unmuting.
I unmute my kids.
Alicia, did you mute us all?
No,
Oh, just nobody's talking. Okay. It just got really quiet.
Well, it says we're live and we're being recorded.
It does. So that's why I was like, why is no one talking?
We're nervous.
all right, looks like we do have some attendees that are starting to join. And I am getting the live stream set up on the Elmira City School District website. So it'll take me just a minute. We still have about 6 minutes before we start.
I wonder if there are special glasses you can wear for television.
Just double checking, you guys can see the PowerPoint, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
So Alicia, you'll be the one who scrolls through the slides?
Yeah, I'll just click, and if I'm going too fast or too slow, just let me know.
Live from Elmira.
Yes, thank you, Kat. It is 7 p.m., so let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Parent Academies 2.0 for our intermediate buildings this evening. I'm Alicia Bubb. I'm the Supervisor of School Innovation here for the district. With us tonight, we have our intermediate building principals. We have Rebecca Kiley with us from Broadway Elementary. We have Mr. Mark Beshe from Hendy Elementary.
Everybody.
Chris Sandcombe from Parley Coburn Elementary.
Hello, everyone.
We have Kelly McAllis from Beecher Elementary.
Hello.
And we have some of our fantastic assistant principals with us this evening as well. So I'm just going to introduce them. We have Cheryl Miller from Hendy Elementary.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
We also have with us Kelly Doherty Maggs, who is the assistant principal at Broadway Elementary. We have Jessica McMaster joining from our Parley Coburn building.
Good evening, everybody.
Making sure I'm not forgetting anybody. All right. We also have with us this evening some of our fantastic virtual teachers, as well as our data curriculum coordinator. Tonight, our DCC is Courtney Reese. We have our grade 5, or one of our grade 5 virtual teachers, Kat Love from Beecher Elementary.
Hi, everyone.
We have Kathy Nelson, who is a grade 6 virtual teacher from Hendy Elementary.
Hey, everyone.
And we have Barb Jennings, who is a grade 6 virtual teacher from Parley Coburn Elementary.
Hello.
So fantastic. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We have gathered some great information to share with all of you tonight. This session is being recorded, and you will be able to find the recording as well as the PowerPoint presentation that we're going to go over with you in just a moment, located on your the building websites after this presentation. All right, so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about some procedures and some policies, as well as going over some technology and programs, because we've gathered some frequently asked questions that our virtual teachers and our hybrid teachers have been gathering from families that we wanted to explain and go over with all of you. All right. So let's go ahead. So we're going to start it off. I'm going to turn it over to Chris Stancombe from Parley Coburn, and he's just going to chat a little bit about the attendance policy.
Hey, friend, you're muted.
I'm ready. All right, so but we have the 3 different areas that we're looking at for attendance, starting with the full virtual students. So as you, with the reading there, so if they attend synchronously, that means during the day when their teacher, when the virtual teacher is online and they're working with the virtual teacher, that virtual teacher can take attendance right then and there, and they're marked as present for the day. If they choose to do the asynchronous, which is later in the day, they're not live, they're not on with the teacher, that we go back in and we look and we say, okay, they did the work asynchronously later in the day. So then the next day, those students that do the work after school hours or not live with the teacher, we go back and we look and see in Schoology that they were logged in and they did the work. So that information goes to our attendance clerks, and the attendance clerk marks them as present for the day. So that's how it works for the virtual students. So again, they can do it live with the teacher, they're marked present, or if they do it later on in the evening without the teacher, we check the following day and they're marked present. The hybrid students, obviously when they're in school, they're marked present, but if they are not in school, so they're not physically in school, we do have to mark them absent. So a kid doesn't come to school, they're marked absent. Now we also have in there, if they do the work asynchronously, so they're not in school, but they still do the work that they're accountable for on Schoology. Unfortunately, it's good that they do the work, but unfortunately, we can't give them credit for being in school. So we still have to mark them absent because they're hybrid students. So if you're looking at your kid and saying, hey, wait a minute, he's been doing the work or she's been doing the work, if they're not in school, we still have to mark them absent because they're listed as hybrid students. The next area, the quarantined and sick students, kind of works the same way with the virtual. They are gonna, so we do have it as an approved absence. So if they've been quarantined or out sick, with COVID-like symptoms, they do get marked at, it's an approved absence. Now, if they do the work, and just like with the virtual students, if they do their work, either synchronously, they get in, they attend a class, or they do it asynchronously, then we can mark them as present for doing their work the following day, the same way we would do with virtual students. So again, looking at it that way, we definitely, you know, it's really getting them to get online and still complete their work for that day. One other thing that we've added, if a student clicks the button in AMP, so when you get into the Schoology, there's a little tab for AMP. If they go in there and they click the attendance button, that will count for the day. So that gives them their attendance for that day. The thing there is, though, they still should get on and do their work. Even though their attendance is accounted for, they still should really be getting in there and doing their work. So rather than going in and just clicking AMP and saying, there, I'm done, they really, you know, we're really stressing they got to get online and complete that online assignment for the day. And that's about it for attendance.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead and switch gears now to our next slide, which Rebecca Kiley, the principal of Broadway Elementary, is going to talk a little bit about some of the grading policy.
Thank you, Alicia. So that was a great lead-in from Mr. Sancombe about the attendance, because I heard him touch on a student may not be present in school if they're a hybrid, but they're doing the work. The students, there's two separate ways to view this. The students would still get credit towards grading if they're finishing their work. Their attendance would be marked as absent. So I want to make sure that everybody understands, even if your child's absent, of course, we don't want them to be if they're hybrid, but maybe they have to be. If they're still doing the work, that will go towards grading, and the teachers will be looking at that for work completion. So a few things that I want to touch on with grading tonight. First of all, I want to start out by saying, if you have any questions that are specific for grading, please contact your student's teacher directly, because they will be able to answer a lot of questions. From talking with my staff, I got a lot of information for you tonight about what they see, and I'd like to share that with you. Student work is being checked for completion and accuracy, and teachers often end up giving more credit for work than the computer might say. So I spoke with a parent who said, my student got 1 out of 6 correct, and the next day after the teacher checked it, it was 4 out of 6. Why is that? Which was a great question. So that leads to an example that was given to me, which I completely understand in the teaching world too. So if a student is to answer a math question about writing a number in word form, and the answer includes the word thousands, and they misspell the word thousands, the computer may mark that as an incorrect answer and not give your child credit. However, when a teacher would check that over, they would give you credit for that because it was a correct answer. We weren't assessing spelling. We were assessing if they could write a number in word form. So we really have our teachers recheck what's submitted to make sure that what we're assessing, because a computer obviously is not a human to know the difference between, to know that what we're assessing is actually what the student is giving us in the assessment. So students have the opportunity to do the work during the school day hours, which is highly encouraged because they would be present during the Zoom where the actual skills are being taught, which is very important for them to see, or they would be seeing recordings and then doing the work in the evenings. Teachers are continuously encouraging students to ask questions or request help in Zoom. I have seen instances where teachers will take messages from parents or students and schedule a separate Zoom with students. My very own son had his own Zoom the other day because he needed extra help right after the Zoom, and his teacher was willing to make an appointment with him and another student to give them a little bit of extra help. So don't be afraid to request that or have your child request that. Our goal is to make sure that we can give them the best learning experience as possible through, a screen and some wires, which isn't the best, but we're doing the best that we can. Hybrid students can also ask in-person questions when they return to school with their cohort. So that's great to be able to bring their work back, to tell their teacher what they missed or what they didn't understand. And I see a lot of reteaching happening when I walk through classrooms. So that's important to our staff, that students that are hybrid can come to school and ask questions about work that they may have not understood or weren't completely completing during virtual teaching. Assessments can be taken many different ways. So there are a few different ways that we use assessments. We use assessments to formatively inform our teaching. And so there may be an assessment that's given that the teacher will use to take her teaching and tailor it to fit how the students understood the first lesson. And we call that formative assessment. We're getting data and we're trying to see if the students need extra help, if they need to reteach, and where they need to take their teaching to meet the needs of students. And the other way that we assess is to take grades, and we are taking some grades through these means. However, there was an example where the computer was calculating a grade across the board at each assignment. The end result in the end column came to a 65, and that had concerned a parent, and they called, and the teacher had said, not looking at that last column, I'm looking at each assignment separately giving feedback, reviewing it to make sure that our computer graded it correctly, and they're going to give their own grades after that. So please, if you have any questions about what you're seeing, it happened to me as well when an answer wouldn't light up as green and when my son entered it. And I went back and asked the teacher. So we are all learning. None of us have the exact answers just because we are on the school end, but we're learning together. If you see in your child's account in Schoology, there's different applications that teachers are using to teach some of the skills. I've seen Class Kick. Exit tickets are used as a way to assess learning, whether formatively to see if we need to do a little bit more teaching, or maybe to get a grade if it's been a skill that's been taught and we're ready to move on. End of the module assessments are happening. And I had a great conversation with a parent this week who said to me, and he was completely correct. And of course, again, we've said this before, we're all learning together. He said, every time there's an end of module assessment, it's on my child's virtual day. And that's difficult for us. Would it be possible for that child to take the assessment in school? And I thought, what an amazing observation that parent made. I took it back to the team of teachers and they said, we didn't even think about it that way. So what you contribute when you call us, it matters and it helps us make better informed decisions about our teaching. So please contact your child's teacher or your school if you need more help or you have more questions. We're here to help you as much as we can. It's truly a challenging time for everybody, but we're here to help you in any way that we can. So thank you, and I'll turn it back to Alicia.
Thank you so much, Becky. That was fantastic. We're going to move in the direction now with Kelly Bacallis from Beecher Elementary and Mark Beshy from Hendy Elementary. We're going to talk a little bit about some of our virtual learning norms and expectations.
Thanks, Alicia. I'm going to take the first part and then Mark will jump in as soon as I get done with the slide. So I put together here some of the virtual learning, character learning targets that we use at Beecher and that were developed by our team there. And what our goal is to make sure that our students keep feeling more and more comfortable online, and our fantastic teachers do a great job of reminding them, because it is just new. Like Becky said, it's a new piece for everyone. And I definitely second the fact that we learn more every time we talk to any one of you that call in. So thank you for being on our team with us. Here's a few of our virtual learning character learning targets that we use. We worded them into I can statements so that the students know that these are attainable for them. So the first one is finding a location without distractions to complete online learning and Zoom meetings. That's number one. The next one is really focusing on keeping attention on the teacher or the person talking. And I know a lot of times we go over what nonverbal cues look like and how to encourage each other when they're speaking. I can mute myself to allow others to hear. And that's something that even as adults we struggle with too, about muting and unmuting. So that's something that we like to gently remind each other of. I can use the raise hand feature to ask a question, or literally signaling on the screen that they have a question. So that's another way to communicate. I can unmute myself when the teacher calls on me, demonstrate respectful behavior and staying on task when I speak. Use the chat feature appropriately. So there are some different parameters that the teacher can put on the chat feature, and there are a lot of great instructional uses we've seen for that. So the issue here is just to use it appropriately and to use it for one-on-one chat with the teacher. I can demonstrate that I can change my name on Zoom. We talk about this sometimes, especially when students are sharing devices, and make sure that the name that's on there reflects who they are, or at least reflects their household and is an appropriate name, so that it's correct and the teacher can identify them. And we definitely go over this, how to do that too. And then lastly on my slide, demonstrate responsibility and use Zoom for educational purposes only. So those are some Zoom specific norms and expectations that we do. And my friend Mark is going to expand upon some of these as well as add a few more. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Kelly. Yes, hi folks. Let me just take a couple minutes of your time to expand on some of the points that Kelly just mentioned. And I've got about 9 or 10 points here that I want to quickly discuss. And the first one is to be prepared. Just like when you're in the classroom at school, it's important to have all of your materials ready to go. For virtual schooling, that means you might need to know the Zoom link and what time you need to be on the Zoom link, and make sure that you have any necessary materials, probably a pad of paper and a pen or a pencil in advance so students can be ready and prepared to listen when the lesson begins. It's also important to be on time and even be a few minutes early just to make sure that the link is working and that everything is up and running, because as we know, sometimes they're not. It'd be great if your students could print out or even write down their daily Zoom schedules so they can look at them and they know exactly when that they are. And it might also be a great idea for your student or parent to set an alarm clock if that would help remind them what times the Zooms are happening on a daily basis. And if you can't be present for a live Zoom, which we know some students can't be, please be sure to view the lesson videos and complete the assignments asynchronously, as Mr. Sancombe mentioned a few minutes ago, that same day. It's also important that we all learn how to use these programs. So many programs have come our way in just the past few weeks and months. And these learning platforms are great, but they can be a little complicated. So it's important for students to learn how to enter the virtual classroom, how to mute and unmute themselves, how to turn on and turn off their camera, and then of course, how to exit the platform when the class is done. Sometimes students may need to chat per their teacher, so they should know how to do that. There's a raise your hand feature in Zoom I'm sure many students know about, but whatever it is a student needs to know, he or she should ask their teacher so they know exactly how to participate fully in class. So if your student happens to have a pair of headphones with a microphone, it's easier for the class and the teachers to hear students who are talking if they have that. Headphones also can block out any other sound distractions that might be happening in the student's home or wherever the student is. Of course, it's okay if the student doesn't have a headphones or a microphone, headphones with a microphone, but it's best if he or she can find a spot at home or wherever he or she is to have minimal distractions when talking and listening to their teacher and their classmates. And, you know, it's easy now with the way we are communicating with each other with devices as small as phones or not much bigger than a laptop computer to move around while we're communicating. But it's important to tell our students and your children to resist the urge to move around while they're on Zoom. It can be very distracting to your classmates. I was on a Zoom the other day and some kid was walking around and I got a little dizzy just watching where he was going. So if the students can find a comfortable spot and stay there for the whole period of the class, it'd be more ideal. Also, we're trying to remind our students to not be in bed. It's a bit more professional if they're sitting at a kitchen table or at a desk if possible, but somewhere where they can sit upright and pay attention while they're learning and while their teacher is teaching. We're also making sure to remind our students to dress appropriately. We're also reminding our students to be dressed when they are online, live Zooming. So, you know, we're encouraging students to change out of their pajamas. We're encouraging students to brush their teeth, wash their face, comb their hair, and look presentable. They don't have to wear a suit, but, you know, just a shirt without any sort of negative or inappropriate graphics or words, of course. They wouldn't be allowed to wear those at school. And they should just dress accordingly. And of course, we want to eliminate as many distractions as possible. Keep in mind that class time is class time, even when students are at home learning virtually. And believe it or not, when somebody is chewing gum or eating food, you can see it and hear it a lot more clearly on a Zoom than you could if you were in a classroom. So we're encouraging students not to do that when they're on Zoom. Of course, we expect all students to not have a TV on or music on in the background. And we know people need to use the bathroom when they need to use the bathroom, but we're encouraging students to do that before or after the Zoom lessons. And of course, we're telling our students not to use their cell phones while they're live Zooming with their teachers and classmates. A fun part about Zooming and all of this virtual stuff are the virtual backgrounds. However, they can be distracting. So we're encouraging our students not to use virtual backgrounds unless their teacher has allowed them to do so or asked them to do so. One good rule of thumb is to sit in front of a blank wall or a wall without too many things on the back of it, so it doesn't pose as a distraction for the other students and the teacher in the Zoom. And just like in school, we're encouraging our students to wait their turn. It's important for students to follow all of their teachers' instructions for answering questions and sharing ideas when learning on Zoom. It's important not to blurt out answers. We like when students want to share, but just like in school, we ask students to be patient and wait for their teacher to finish talking and to call on them to answer questions. And that, of course, would lead to them using the raised hand feature in Zoom. That's a great way for students to get the teacher's attention and then patiently wait to be called on by the teacher. And finally, let's remember that this is school, as strange as it may seem. We know it's exciting to see your friends and classmates online, but this is not the time or place to talk about the newest TikTok video or what you had for breakfast, etc. If your virtual classroom has a chat feature, stay out of it unless your teacher directs you to go there. And if you are on the chat feature, make sure that your chatting is appropriate to the lesson that you're discussing. Okay, I think that's it for me. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mark and Kelly. As we were just talking a lot about Zoom, we're going to turn it over to Courtney, our data curriculum coordinator, and she's going to talk to you guys about some Zoom basics.
Thank you, Alicia. To kind of play off what Mark had talked about, Mark and Kelly, we just wanted to give you some Zoom basics. I know that it's become a platform that has really helped us with instruction and connecting with our students. Some of the basics are the mute feature is all the way to the left. You can mute that on and off. Sometimes your teacher will have you enter a meeting or a lesson with yourself muted. You could also use the space bar, which I also just learned from my colleagues today, that you can use that to mute and unmute. So again, we're all learning. So it's the same thing with the start video. You can put that on and off and you'll see a red diagonal line through the icon to let you know if that's on or off. Now the security feature is not one that the students will see, but it did come up on the toolbar. Participants is how many people are in the meeting. Your chat is a very important feature. And I know there's a lot of different etiquette features or expectations that your teacher will explain to you, but the chat is something that can be very useful to share with the entire group or with just one participant. There's also ways to upload files in there as you get more sophisticated with the platform. The screen share is a great option. A lot of times the teacher will just have the rights to share the screen, but in certain situations, as you become more comfortable with Zoom, there are ways for the students to share also. So that's a great place. The record is mainly for the individuals that are running the meeting or the teacher. Breakout rooms is an additional feature, which is wonderful for co-teaching or running small group lessons. And a lot of times that's set up through the teacher's perspective, but can really be very helpful when doing cooperative learning, differentiating material. It's really, really great feature. And then finally, the student's favorite besides the chat is the reactions. There's a lot of different features in there. Maybe you could see, have your student play with that a little bit. There's also rules and expectations for that too, but a lot of times it's easier than muting and unmuting to just give a thumbs up or a clapping, or you like something. It saves time, but also gives that immediate feedback to the teacher that the student is responding or engaged in what you're doing. Just a quick little way to keep the students engaged. think I have the next slide too. Now, how to minimize a Zoom is extremely important when you're doing, when you might want to have the teacher teaching you something in a Zoom, but also be working in one of the tabs on your screen. This is very helpful when it comes to testing, when it comes to interactive lessons. So first you would click on the exit, the full screen choice. It would be at the right top corner of your screen. So it would look just like that. I just did a little snip. Number 2, click on the minus sign in the upper right corner. Your Zoom window will become very small, but you can still work on your screen while the teacher is teaching. So you can move that around where you'd like on your screen, but it will just be a small window. If you scroll over it to open back up to full screen, there is like a little square with a green arrow pointing diagonally, and that'll just open it right back up to what you were doing. So it's very simple, but it's a really, really useful tool when it comes to lessons.
Thanks, Courtney. That was very informative. All right, so I'm going to take over from here and talk just a little bit about Schoology and the fact that we have enabled parent accounts for this school year. So first of all, what is Schoology, right? This is the learning management platform that our teachers are using, and during the closure for our pre-K to grade 12 students, this became our platform. And so going into this school year, this has become our hub, right? Our learning center is Schoology. So with a parent account, which we have turned on, this parent account will give you access to the classes that your child is enrolled in, your child's upcoming assignments, and school and class announcements. I know that principals are utilizing the update feature in Schoology, and so this becomes a really great way for parents to stay involved with their child's education. So right now, I just want to share a very quick presentation on the difference between a student and a parent account.
Parent accounts in Schoology were designed to give parents read-only access to their children's activities inside the LMS. It's important to recognize that parent accounts have certain limitations when compared to active student accounts. Parent accounts are not able to participate as a student in any course or group activity. Here, you can see a student account accessing a discussion in Schoology. The student account can participate and post in the discussion. The parent account is able to see the discussion in some cases, but cannot post. Student accounts can submit assignments on Schoology. Parent accounts can view their children's submissions, but cannot submit on their children's behalf. Student accounts can attempt submissions of quizzes and assessments. Parent accounts are unable to do so on their child's behalf. Student accounts can post inside of media albums. Parent accounts can view the media in the album, but cannot participate or post on their child's behalf. Once again, if you would like to view your child's courses and activity in Schoology, you can use your parent account, where you will see the light blue box at the top that lets you know you're viewing as your selected child. However, in order for your child to complete their coursework, they must be logged in to their own student account.
All right, so I want to just take you guys through a live demonstration.
Hi, everyone.
Whoop, not going to show that video. I'm actually going to escape right now from the PowerPoint. And I'm going to stop sharing this and take you guys through a demonstration of a parent account. So let's go ahead and get into Schoology. So you may have gotten a auto-generated email to your primary email account. And so these accounts were made based on the primary parent in the school tool. Okay, I seem to have lost there it is. All right, can everybody see the Schoology here now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So you may have got this auto-generated email that would have asked you to click and set up your account. If you are having any trouble with this, and Josh Miller, who is our technology director, is also working on making sure that our parents have access to these accounts. Please make sure that you email techhelp@elmiracityschools.com, and we would be happy to help you guys get yourselves logged in to a parent account. One of the first things that I want to mention is that our students it's so ingrained in our kiddos to go to express.schoology.com to access their Schoology accounts. However, for a parent account, you need to access Schoology at apps.schoology.com. So that is one of the differences between a student and a parent account as well. Also, when you sign into a parent account, it is going to be the email that the account was made under. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in as one of our demo parent accounts here to give you guys a feel for when you log in, what that's going to look like. So it looks very similar to a student's account. As you can see up here, you have your Elmira Express. This is like your home button. This has courses, groups, and resources. And over here, you can see that this is the parent's name, Olivia Langdon. All right. When Olivia, the parent, logs in, they can see recent activity from any of the schools that their students are associated with. So you can see right here that there is an announcement from Broadway Academy. If I scroll down, I see some announcements from Ernie Davis Academy, as well as Elmira High School. The reason being, when I go up here to my parent account and I click this little arrow down, I see that I have 3 kiddos associated to me, and they are students in Broadway Academy, Ernie Davis, and Elmira High School. So this is also where you would click to change view. So now if I wanted to check on my student Clara, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Clara, and that green check mark shows you which account that you're in. And just like the video just presented, it will tell you up here in this blue heading that you are now viewing as Clara Clemens. So now I'm viewing as the student. I can see the student's activity here, and I can see any of the courses that the student is enrolled in. So here, the student is enrolled in this particular course. If they were in any groups, I would find those below here. All right. We also have on the right-hand side any recent grades. So any graded assignments, you can certainly click on this. Then you can also scroll through. You get another drop-down menu here for any test quizzes or discussions. We are not utilizing the attendance. Schoology does have an attendance feature. We're using the AMP check-ins, but all of our official attendance is reported in our school tool, which would be under your parent portal accounts on the district website. Another great feature is that this gives parents a glimpse as to anything that might be overdue. Okay, so if anything that wasn't completed by a due date that the teacher had set, this is extremely overdue here from August, but you get an idea that you can see that, and you'll notice that it is clickable. So you could go right into this assignment that is overdue. You also have the upcoming assignments down here. So anything that is upcoming, it's going to give you the date and time, and you can click right on some of these assignments as well. I'm going to go back up now, and I'm going to go back to my parent because I want to just talk a little bit about settings for parents while you're in here. So it's really important that as the parent, you also look at the settings feature under your profile here. Once you're in your settings, you can set up different things like a preferred name. If you have an alternate email, you can stick that in there. You can also change your password from here as well. Always make sure that you save your changes. The most important part is the notifications piece. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the notifications tab. Here is where Schoology can send you as a parent notifications about actions that involve your student, okay? So if there's any academic items, and you can read through these. So say a teacher posts a new update in their course. If you want to receive a notification when a teacher posts a new update, you can leave this set to on, and the email that you are registered under will get an update. Over here on the right-hand side, I find this to be very handy. If you prefer, you can also set up notifications to your phone via a text message. So you can click on this and walk through the prompts. And when, let's say, a teacher updates their course, right to your phone, you will get a notification saying that the teacher has updated the course. It will send you a link, and then you can click from your text message into that link and go right to that update. So this is really where you can get very specific and set up those parameters that you would like to make sure that you have notifications for. I just want to point out, if you scroll all the way down, here's that school. So if you wanted to receive those school updates from any of the building principals that are giving information through those updated portions of the platform, you can set that up here. And again, the text message and setting up those notifications is up here on the right-hand side. So this is just a quick glimpse into a parent account. And again, this PowerPoint will be on the building's websites, and there is a video tutorial of some of this information that I am walking you through right now. All right, so we're going to go back to the presentation. And here we go. All right, Courtney is going to talk to you guys now about a little troubleshooting when you're trying to log into Schoology.
There we go. So I think a lot of times we get different phone calls or emails regarding some of the different troubleshooting from the home, from parents and from students. And a lot of times the first thing that we do ask is if they're going through their Google Chrome app or browser. That seems to work the best, and that's recommended. That does mainly address a lot of the issues. So make sure that you're using Google Chrome anytime you're using Schoology and through the apps. Second, use your child's correct email address and ID. Your student ID is always the student's lunch number. Usually they know it by heart. They know it quicker than the parents do usually. So your child's email is the last name dash first name at el.gstboces.org. You can find that on the school tool or parent portal. You can also find it in Schoology. If you click on the student's name, it does give you their email where you can just copy and paste into some of the other programs also.
Thanks, Courtney.
Yep.
So one of the other tips that we wanted to go over was using an iPad. So we have in iPads, this is the Safari web browser, and we are recommending that if you have an iPad at home or even a Fire tablet, I know my kiddos use Fire tablets, that you use the web browser instead of the app. We have just noticed that many applications that we are using, like Nearpod or Edpuzzle or even ClassKick, do not work well inside of the Schoology app. So we're asking that parents and students access Schoology by clicking on their web browser and then typing in express.schoology.com and then using that information that Courtney just went over with you with your last name dash first name to sign in, as well as your student ID. All right, so it is recommended that you use the web browser. We've had some frequently asked questions about logging into ClassKick from an iPad specifically. So parents wanted to know, do I need a ClassKick app And the answer is no. If you're going through the web browser, this is a picture of a teacher's course, and you can see right here that there's a ClassKick login. And so if you see something like this in a teacher's course, you can just click right on that login. It is going to open right within inside our platform of Schoology. This is another picture. You can kind of see Schoology there. And then you're going to get this login, depending on how the teacher has put the assignment in. Kat, in just a minute, is going to go over a different way to log in to ClassKick, but this gives you an idea that you click login and then click student. For our login for ClassKick, we're going to click that login button right here. And then, as Courtney also mentioned, some of the applications require the email address. So that is your last name dash first name at el.gstboces.org, and then that all important student ID. So once you put that information in, you will now see ClassKick opens right within your platform of Schoology, and your assignments will be there and available to you. So Kat's going to take another sort of spin on ClassKick and talk to you guys a little bit about signing in, scrolling down, and clicking around.
Hi, everyone. So like Alicia said, depending on how the teacher puts it in, will result in how they'll log in. So I prepared a little video here to show you how to log in, if it works.
All right, I'll go ahead and press play for you, Kat.
Yeah, I was trying to press it like I have access.
All right, here we go.
Okay. It looks like I'm going to have to sign in, scroll down, and click around. So the first thing I wanted to show you is the sign in that most students will see when they click on their link within their lesson. There will be a login that has a class code and a place for a name, and then the go button. Then down below this line, there will be a continue with portfolio login. That's where we want our students to log in. So they would click on login and put their last name, first name at el.gstboces.org, and then put their student number in the password, and then click login. So that's sign in. Scroll down. Once they get into their ClassKick lesson, they're going to want to scroll down the page because not everything is showing in the window when they open it. They want to click around on things like play buttons. When they scroll down this page, they find a slider that they can use after they've completed their work to check their work. Many pages will could have a song or the actual lesson video with directions. And this one, especially if you didn't scroll down on this page, if I can get it to scroll, you wouldn't see that there's a question and a space for you to answer the question in. So it's really important to scroll down, click around, look for places where the hand pops up. You know, you'll want to click on that. Read the directions because they will be very clear about what to do, what to watch, what to write, etc. Good luck. Hope that helps. Hope that helps.
Oops, very good. Thank you, Kat.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
All right, so not only do we want to scroll down inside a ClassKick, but Barb is going to take you guys through how we also want to scroll down on our actually Schoology page. Do you want me to just play the video, Barb?
I mean, I was just going to capitalize on the fact that Kat was like, you need to scroll down. The video is fine either way, but if you don't scroll down, you're going to miss a lot.
All right. Do you want, we can just kind of, due to time, we'll just kind of keep rolling. This video
That's
will
what I
be
was
available.
thinking. Yeah, oh yeah, they can view it, the video at their own, you know.
Absolutely. I think what's most important is that our teachers have put in a lot of time and effort in providing a lot of tutorials, as well as instructions and directions. And so if you scroll through a lot of their course material, you're going to find a lot of tips and tricks and helpful information that you can kind of use and guide yourself through a lot of this learning. All right. So one other area on the iPad, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nearpod now, because that is another really engaging program that we have incorporated into our bag of tricks with our students. And so some of the parents have been calling in and asking, you know, or that they can't get in. So one of the things that we wanted to go over again is that, you know, go through that browser. I really encourage you to try going through your web browser on an iPad or a tablet instead of the app. And when you go in to a Schoology course, you should see something that looks like these little rulers here, and it will tell you that this is a Nearpod lesson. When you click on that Nearpod lesson, Nearpod's going to open up again right inside of Schoology, which you can see right here. And what we're really trying to do is keep our students inside of the Schoology platform, right? We don't want things opening up into other tabs. We were trying our best to make sure that everything that we are giving our students is going into our learning management system of Schoology. So here we have the welcome to your lesson that indicates that the student has clicked on the Nearpod lesson, and then it will ask them to type in their name, or it might recognize their name, and then they simply click join lesson. Once they click join lesson, the lesson should open up for them, and then you're going to see these sort of semicircles in blue here with arrows, and that indicates to the student that they can click forward and backward to move themselves throughout the lesson. All right, Barb, you want to talk a little bit? There you go.
I do. I love Nearpod, and I love it from a kid's point of view and the games and the fun and the engagement that we're having. But we're asking that your student use their real name when they're typing their name, because if you see on the left-hand side there, teachers can then go in and pull up reports regarding the students, and they can see the answers that the students are giving, and then they can decide, oh, well, maybe I need to connect with so-and-so. It looks like they needed a little help. So we're really asking that students are using their first and last name when they're going through the Nearpods. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it quick.
No, you're great. Thank you, Barb. I just can't find my unmute button fast enough. I need to use that spacebar technique.
Oh, that's me again. And I'm all about the space bar. I love this thing. So in the spring, I got the gray screen of death and I thought, oh no. And then this incredible guru woman named Alicia taught me, don't worry about that. In the corner, if you follow that little yellow line, right up to the box where I put a little yellow circle around, all you have to do is click that button and it magically solves all of your problems and it opens right up. If you want a little more step-by-step, there is a video I'm sure you can watch later on your own time, but I don't think we need to take the time for it now.
Okay, this is me. I think I will skip over the videos too, but you can always go back and look at those later. Some people were having trouble after we had to reinstall Chrome on our computers. And what was happening is they would get a pop-up blocker. So if you notice where I circled on the screen, it's kind of small, but you'll see what looks like a file in a little red X. If you click on that, it will say there's a pop-up blocker, and then a drop down will come down, and you can just unblock this site always. So it'll tell you what you're unblocking, Schoology in this case. I've had Nearpod be blocked. So you just click on that, click on always allow, and you're good to go. If it keeps happening, I put another way on here where you can go into your, on your computer, open Chrome, go up at the top right, click more, which is the 3 little dots at the top, and then go to settings. And then under privacy and security, you'll click on the site settings and click the pop-ups and redirects. And then you can either turn on your pop-up blocker or turn it off, depends on what you want. I prefer to not have my redirects blocked, so I turn it off. So watch the videos, they'll give you a blow-by-blow on how to do it in case you get stuck.
This is me. So daily attendance is something that is very important for the students to make sure that they're doing. In each of their daily folders, there's a puzzle piece icon that they need to click every single day. And that's their check-in. That's them telling us that they've reported for school. They've checked in that day. So they're going to click on that puzzle piece. It'll have the date that they're clicking on. They can find it in their daily folder. They can also find it on the right-hand side under their upcoming events. And they click that puzzle piece, and then the blue box in the middle will open up, and it will tell them to start their attempt. And they click the blue Start Attempt button, and then the next box will open up. Now, this next part is the part that some of the students forget to do. So it will tell them that, you know, they're checking in for school. They need to click the circle. They need to fill in that bubble that really will take their attendance. And then when they're done, they click the I am here button, and then they click the blue review button at the bottom. And then after that, they'll get another screen that will review. And in the little file tab there, it should have a number 1. They do technically get a point for checking in with their attendance. That's just so that it connects with our grade book so that we can have their attendance recorded. And then after that, they click the blue finish button, and then another screen will pop up, and they'll submit their activity, and they'll click yes. And then they get the final screen that tells them that they have actually checked in for the day. So some students are having a problem and they're not going all the way to the end. So it's important that they're doing, even though it's a lot of screens, that they're going through each step.
This is me. So this is kind of plays into what Kathy just explained. It's tips for submitting assessments. Now, when you think of assessments, we think of a test, we think of, okay, a quiz. Well, the teal puzzle piece is going to give you the exact icon to what is going to direct you to the assessment piece. It looks exactly like the arrow shows on the screen. And when you're submitting an answer for math, something to really remember is a lot of the platforms have a writing tool or a highlighting tool, but within Schoology assessments, it is very important that you use your keyboard to type the actual answers in the numbers, because a lot of the times the assessment pieces do link directly to the grade book and the answering. So if you were to write something in there, it might mark that wrong and it wouldn't link to the grade book. So another feature for that is to use the review on the right part of the screen. It's highlighted, circled, and highlighted. That's a review portion. Once the students click in their answers, they can use that little icon to review what they've done and what they've submitted before it sends to the teacher. So that's just a quick little tip to help when you're using assessment pieces.
Thanks, Courtney. And I think it's so important, as Becky had said earlier, that, you know, computer's not going to get everything. And so our teachers are very diligent about going back and just double checking when these scores are coming in.
So just a couple of tips for making sure that work is completed. So it's really, really important that students do their assignments every day. And that was talked about a little bit earlier in the beginning of the presentation. If students aren't working every day, they really do have that chance to fall behind. And the more days in a row that they don't work, the farther behind they are going to fall. We've really been working hard at making the students understand that if you're, that you're in school if you're a hybrid student, you're in school for 2 days and then you're home for 3 days. But when you're home, you're doing the same lessons that are being done in school. So it's very important that you're keeping up with your assigned work. And then the second bullet is that all videos in the assignment should also be watched. Any examples should be reviewed, and then the work should be completed. Our virtual teachers are working really, really hard to make sure there's a lot of video for the students to watch so that they have a lot of examples to use. And if they're not watching all of these, then they're really struggling with the work and ultimately sometimes not turning it in because they're struggling so much. And then the third point is don't just skip ahead to the assignment. When you open up, for example, a math activity in a class kick lesson, make sure you're looking at all of the class notes the teacher's given you, make sure you're watching the video and work all the way through the assignment and then do the part that is the actual independent activity.
So this is me, and if we had more time, we could totally watch this video as to why the green check marks are no more in intermediate. So in the end, in the video, I'll just recap for you. I went into my daughter's course. On the left, you can see where I put that big green no, and they still have it. And all I have to do is just click view. I just have to view it. I don't have to watch anything. They don't have to. You just view, hit next, view, hit next, view, hit next, and it says, great job, you completed all your work. So we've decided that that isn't completing your work, that's just clicking next, and therefore the completion green check mark is no more.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate too, we've also seen some glitches a little bit with those completion rules. So I think that was another reason why a lot of our intermediate teachers were very adamant on, it's not just about getting the green check mark. It's about quality work, turning in those assignments, and then, looking for that feedback and not just a green check mark, I'm done. All right, so Kathy's going to talk a little bit about how we go ahead and submit those assignments.
Okay. Just to conserve time a little bit, I'm not going to go through every single step because these are in the PowerPoint, but a lot of assignments are added as Word documents. And in order for the student to be able to type on the Word document and then actually submit to the teacher, they do have to download the assignment to their computer. So in the first step, it does show that there would be a blue link that they would click on, and that would open the assignment in Word on their computer. And then you follow the directions, you would type, you would get your answers all taken care of. And then you actually have to save to your own computer. So you're opening it, you're typing, you're saving. And then you have to go back to Schoology. And if you notice on the third picture there, it has that gray submit assignment box. So you click on that gray submit assignment box, and then your upload box opens up for the assignment. So in an assignment, you're actually downloading and uploading. So you click, I think Alicia on the next slide. So you click the submit button, and then you have the upload button, and you would click that first little picture. It looks like a couple of sheets of paper. And then that automatically opens your documents on your own computer. You click on it, and then it will upload the actual document, and then you click submit. It sounds like a lot, but once you've done it a couple of times, it's a really easy process. And the kids are getting used to doing things like this. And it's just a way for them to be able to type a document and submit it to the teacher. And then on the next slide, it talks about another way that students could actually work on a Word document. Through our OneDrive, we can assign assignments as well. And this is right within Office 365. So a student would click on, again, that link to open up their assignment. But this time that top box would open, and where I've circled in teal, I've circled my document. They would click on that and it should open right on their screen. And then they can type, they can edit, they can do what they need to do. And then they would click that white submit button. Unfortunately, sometimes the students aren't connected to Office 365, so they may get the error message on the left. And if they're not connected, then they're going to click connect, they'll choose their account, and they'll follow the prompts from there to connect. And then their assignment will open. So that saves from having to save it on your own computer. But both are versions that different teachers use. And again, either one of them is easy once the student has done it a few times. And then finally, we're coming into some troubleshooting slides. So what we're encouraging the students to do, and honestly, we're in the 4th full week of school and they've gotten so much better at this, at not panicking when something doesn't work the right way. So we're just encouraging them to take a look, you know, as we've heard, scroll all the way down through their course page and look and see where the tips or the cheat sheets or the resources might be, because all of the virtual teachers have them somewhere. And they might have videos that show them how to log into programs. They may have links to directions, but try to troubleshoot on their own first. And then obviously, if they're not able to, certainly get a hold of their teacher and their teacher will help them.
So if you do get stuck, here are some things that you should give a try. Click around, explore, do the whole trial and error thing. Don't be afraid. You're not going to break anything. If you can't get unstuck, then we can figure it out together. One trick that can sometimes work and it cures everything is just to hit the refresh button in your address bar. So if you do need help and you need to send a message on Schoology, and we get a lot of messages, please start by making sure you're sending the message to the right person. So on Wednesdays, for example, in the intermediate schools, they would be sending it to their homeroom teacher. If I get it, I still answer it, but when I do get those messages, you have to be very specific. The first thing I'm going to need to know is which section they're in or what their homeroom teacher's name is. Give the day, the subject, which assignment, and then tell us what is the problem, and then stay calm because we're all in this together and we're going to make sure it gets fixed for you. So be very specific. Section number has been the biggest thing. It's easier for me to check to see what's going on if I know what section it is, and I know we're all having that same kind of thing when we get messages for help. So we're here, we're all in this together, and we're going to make sure it works.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kat, for wrapping it up there. So that was the end of our presentation. I know it was probably a lot. This video and that PowerPoint will be on your building's website page. So please make sure that you check that out. And if you have any other questions, you know, your buildings, your principals, your assistant principals, we have the the family community outreach coordinators that are there to help you as well, and your classroom teachers. So please make sure, as Kat said, we're all in this together and we want to help everyone succeed. So before we sign off, do any of our principals have anything left to say?
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us, and great job to our virtual teachers for presenting. You did an awesome job.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.